Awesome. Cool. So, like we always start off with, I don't think I really need to preach this, but I'm still going to because it's still an extremely important, step that we have to take in our trading. We always have to refer back to our trading plan before we ever start trading. Like I always say, go through your. If you do not have a trading plan set up, that's okay. Message me on Facebook, message me on Instagram, wherever you guys got me connected at. Message me and we'll go over some trading plans and I'll help you guys get through that. Okay. So run through your trading plan really quick before you enter the markets. If you have not, entered the markets already, go through your trading plan. And then afterwards, let's go ahead and get started. So a couple of pairs that I've been really looking at lately are AUD/JPY and Euro USD. Half the reason why on AUD/JPY, I'm just going to go straight into it, guys. AUD/JPY has really sparked some interest for me because I feel like trading in a range. It's trading in a range. And the number one thing that you have to remember as a trader is always trade with the trend, right? Well, we're not necessarily in a trend on this specific pair, but we are in a range. And ranges, like I said, are some of my favorite setups. And the reason why is because it's so much easier to read candlestick patterns. It's not that it's so much easier. It's just really easy for me in particular to pick up at least 100 to 200 pip movements out of a range, you know what I mean? Or even sometimes 300, pips out of a range. It may take a little bit longer, especially in, Australian dollar pairs and Japanese yen pairs. Maybe it may take a little bit longer just for those to really occur, those 200, 300 pip movements to occur, but that's okay. As long as we know the general census of, the market, our sentiment, and what we feel is proper within our trading plan. So AUD/JPY, it took a sell somewhere around, I think it was like 81. We had it, I think it was somewhere around like 81.97. I did say to close out of it early because it was a little bit choppy. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the way it was reacting in the market. However, we did come up and touch a 61.8 off of the previous, impulse leg to the downside. And that's just a measurement. Like I said, it's just a measurement of movement. We measured a 61.8 retracement out of this, breakout zone right here. It looks like we're kind of establishing a kind of a downtrend-ish looking thing here, a downtrend channel. So we can go ahead and just draw one of those up. Let me go ahead and grab the same tool here. So we're kind of like in this nice little downtrend channel. With this downtrend channel, with that being said, there's other factors we do need to take into consideration. So let's go ahead and go back into the history of AUD/JPY and what does it really historically do around this level of 82.57. 82.57 looks like a very pure supply zone, a really pure supply zone because we have so many bounces off of it and very strong movements away from the zone. Same thing like right over in here, there's divergence. And then we also have up here, just a big strong, just, a little bit more divergence also. You could actually see that right here in the RSI. I mean, just pointing it out right here. Where's my drawing tool? There it is. Just like kind of pointing it out right here and then pointing it up here towards the actual trend. Oh, it didn't even go up there, did it? Goof. You go ahead and delete that. Okay, so like I said, with that being said, we've got a couple more confirmations there showing us a little bit more of a sell bias to AUD/JPY inside of this range. What would really give me a clear confirmation is the signature, the supply signature. This is just coming a little bit from the basics of the Wyckoff method that we've been studying under Jordan and Zachary. If you guys tune into their IML TV sessions at 11 o'clock every single day Central Standard Time, you'll get to know a little bit more about the Wyckoff method and how we understand a little bit more deeply the behavioral patterns of the market. So like I said, I drew all of the stuff that I've drawn up. I keep it all up here on the chart because I want you guys to know I do not move indicators. I do not move I don't move any type of any of my markups. I don't move them. Okay. I don't just draw this stuff up here randomly and then just, show you a market analysis from other traders or anything like that. What I want you to know is that everything that I mark up is purely, it stays there. It does not move. I take pictures of this stuff. I put it in my computer. So there's a whole storage of pictures of my previous markups coming from all of these different setups. And I like to keep pictures of these setups specifically because now I'm going to know even further, okay, like where are we at in the cycle of our favorite pair. AUD-JPY is one of my personal favorite pairs because obviously I have the most markups on it. So another thing I want you guys to take into consideration, something that has really been unclear. Why do we use the 200 moving average? I need to go ahead and look at the chat here. Appreciate you, Billy. All right, cool. We're working on that, Billy. I promise. So anyways, like I said, just a little bit of patience there. But like I said, confirmations. We're looking for confirmations at AUD-JPY. Why are we looking for sells? But I wanted to really talk about the 200 EMA. Why do we use the 200 EMA? Because we want to know cold-hearted, just cold stone fact. We cannot look at the rest of this chart. We have to, like, if I could do this, I can hide the chart and literally tell you. Let me see if I can hide it. I'm not sure if I can. Nope. Hang on a second. I want to be able to hide this whole chart. Never mind. Okay, well, here's the thing. Look at the 200 EMA, and I want you to really take a look at the 200 EMA in comparison to, the whole, all the candlestick structure as a whole. Because what we're looking at when it comes to the candlestick structure, the whole price action structure and everything, we kind of see a range, but what do we see in the 200 EMA? What we see in the 200 EMA is a downtrend. Just cold-hearted stone fact downtrend. You cannot argue with the 200 EMA. And this is just a little bit of information and background about the 200 EMA. Why I adopted this was because I saw Jordan and I saw Zach put it up there. I didn't really understand why they did it, but I did a little bit more research into something called the Dow theory. Don't worry yourself with that. Don't even go and try to research it. You're going to get all the information from me right here. Because one thing that we really hate is just watered down information. We want to get straight to the point. We want to talk about the meat and potatoes. We want to give you all of the in-depth information that you need to act with in the market. The 200 EMA is literally just a judge between price and market sentiment. Market sentiment. Write that down if you got a piece of paper or a notebook. If not, refer back to this recording because I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel as well. So yes, I did open a YouTube channel, guys. Go and subscribe to it later. So anyways, like I was saying, just looking at the 200 EMA, I really feel as if it's a very great judge of range, of not just range, but also of trend. Because if I'm really not able to see what kind of trend it is, because there's so much noise. If you could just like block out the rest of this noise and just look at this orange line right in the middle, you can really just tell, hey, am I reversing? Hey, am I in a downtrend? Hey, am I ranging? What am I doing? It's obviously ranging. If you look from this price point at 81.70, and then at the bottom right down here, we can go all the way down to 80.56, and that's somewhere around the bottom of the 200 EMA. Okay, this is an EMA, folks, exponential moving average. Don't worry yourself about what kind of moving average you need. Just put a 200 EMA if you want to judge, if you really want to see what kind of trend you're in on a specific pair. Right now, I'm just kind of going over some concepts because I've been going over concepts before I go over my technical analysis with pairs. I've really been going over the concepts because I want you to understand why we're looking at the market the way we're looking at it. Because somewhere along the lines, when you start looking at all of these ideas that I'm showing you, or that Zach or that Jordan's showing you, you guys are you're gonna adopt it. You're gonna adapt it to your trading plan, and you're gonna be able to you may be able to become a more profitable trader based on the different confirmations that I add up here. Because you may not be adopting this, and sometimes I learn some new things from new traders too. I like learning from new traders, and I like adapting new concepts too, because they may have some concepts that I don't have that I may be able to enact in my trading plan, and that's why we're always students. Okay, guys? So let me go ahead and take a look at the messages again, because I need to keep this window up all the time. All right, let me see her. Do you think there will be a small consolidation for AJ, or going for a decent sell or a small pullback to 80.85? Riley, to answer your question, at the current moment where we're at right now, price is at 8167.5. I really want to see. Let me go ahead and just put this back on auto scrolling. What I really want to see is I'm going to go into the hourly time frame here. what I really want to see from this perspective, just from because this RSI, like I said, we'll talk about RSI plays later, the divergence plays later. There's no divergence plays here. What I'm really looking for is to test. I want to see it come up here and at least test 38.2, which would show me that, you know, that it, which here's the thing though, if you look at this volume right here, this volume right here in the bottom, sorry, it was my computer. But the volume that I'm seeing, this volume signature, even though there's not really much volume right here, just kind of like look a little closer. No volume, but there's more volume in the short side than there is in the buying side. So that just means that we're hitting a supply signature inside the market, which basically means that this is where the institutions are going to be trading. This is where they're going to put a couple of orders. So I'm expecting that we come back up here to the 38.2, or if not, at least the 50%. We can have this range right here. This could be a solid, you know, sell range right in this area. Let me go ahead and just kind of like highlight it for you guys. Make it red. Make it red, 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 red. There we go. Cool. So within this range, this is a 15 pip range. Within this 15 pip range, we can expect that either two things are going to happen, and we need to keep this into account, guys. We have at least three options. We need to have at least three options when we're approaching the market. We need to know, is there a possibility of it completely shooting through it and going to at least 82.18? Because if it does, we don't want to place our stops right there. See what I'm saying? Or we can just play based off of some price action versus putting our limits in here and saying, hey, you know, I'm going to put a sell in it right up here in 81.94, 81.95 and just let it, you know, go on right back down here. Because this right here on an hourly, you know, time frame, if we're looking at it close enough, it, you know, could show signs of, you know, buying. We could buy it from right here, and I could definitely see it coming from that area where it's at right now in 81.56-ish, 81.57 area. I could see it coming back up here to at least 82.39 or 82.40 within that 10 pip price range. Because, you know, when we're looking at our divergence plays, we want to be able to dissect, hey, are we doing a reversal here, or are we just doing a pullback? Because most of the time what I'm finding is if I'm in a downtrend, like I'm looking at the higher time frames, like the 4 hour, I'm always looking for like some kind of, okay, this doesn't really look like divergence, only simply because the RSI agrees with where price is. The only time that you have divergence is if price is like way lower. Like if you come and look at all this stuff, like right here, like screw the rest of this stuff. Let's go ahead and trash all this stuff. I really hope that comes back. I need that back. But so like looking at all this right here, and then looking up here as well. See these. Let me go ahead and just kind of like take the auto off here. Come on. There we go. Okay, cool. So I can come up here and really see the exaggerated divergence, or even coming back here to this peak right here. This peak is pretty close to this one, right? So if I go and take this, come back, RSI, I need you there. Okay, cool. So this is a huge form of divergence right here. Huge form of divergence. That's called exaggerated divergence. Come on. Let's cooperate with me here, please. My drawing tools need to like cooperate. Okay. Well, anyways, you get the point. You get the point. There's divergence right here in just, come on now. You know what? I'm just going to delete it. What a goof. All right. So yeah, I'm kind of staring at my screen. My screen's over here. All right. So we put it right here. Cool. Okay. So now you see how price went way the heck up here, big impulse up here. And then our signature started to get a little bit smaller. Notice how the selling signature, the short signatures and the volume started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That means we're approaching supply. That means we're approaching an area where there is a lot more selling interest than buying interest. So from here, I'd be looking for, okay, what other signs can I look for to enter into the market besides being, you know, just like looking at this one general area as, hey, look, there's some divergence right here. Should I enter? Not necessarily, because we don't have everything that we need. There are so many different confirmations that we're going to need. Okay. So I'm just simply explaining what divergence is and why we're using it. Okay. This right here does not qualify as divergence. Not at all. Because there's no price. It doesn't disagree with the RSI. It agrees. Okay. Everything up in here all agrees. This may be an accumulation. I'm not going to lie. This right here, this entire thing right here could be a form of accumulation. I'm not entirely sure. But just looking at it from, you know, this perspective and seeing how it, you know, just kind of coming from 82.10, striking 82.10, and then this just, you know, the volume signatures kind of spike up whenever we see more shorting, even though there was like no volume whatsoever, because this is just going into, this is Thanksgiving. This is all Thanksgiving action, price action right here. And so whenever we went into Thanksgiving, guess what? We had a little bit more selling action. See, a little bit before that, we had more selling action. We had more signature, more selling signature there. So that would kind of give me the bias that we may need to wait a little bit longer before we sell it. So where am I going to wait? What am I going to wait for? I'm probably going to wait for it to, you know, if we go back into the hourly, I'm going to draw that channel back up again. Let me go ahead and just trash this stuff. I'm going to wait for something like, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to make that the top officially, honestly. I might want to make it from right down here. That could be, that could qualify as a descending wedge, but I'm not going to make any classification whatsoever on it right now. I would just rather see if it comes up here, touches, you know, 81.94. I want to see it come back up to 82, to be completely honest. And I want it to come down here to 80.88. And if we do come up here to 81.94 or anywhere around 82, and we do not break it, we're selling it. Because then that means that we finished the cycle in the RSI. We've come all the way up here. We've touched it. We're going to touch it, and then we're probably going to go ahead and just, you know, we're probably going to flotate around it a little bit, but not too long, and go ahead and just strike right back down again. That there are many different situations that can happen here in this market. So just be aware of that. Yeah, Black Friday sale. Bitcoin did that same thing. Bitcoin went down to like 3,700. Okay, so my market outlook for AUD/JPY overall, I'm looking for a sell. I'm definitely looking for a sell. It's just a matter of when we can sell it. All right. It's just a matter of when we can sell it, because it does not look like we're going to break any type of structure anywhere anytime soon. If we haven't broken 83 yet, there's no sell, there's no buying. There's no buying whatsoever. And as you can see, this is a reversal. This is a major reversal, like psychological line right over here at 83. Like if we go ahead and program this into 83, where is my format thing setting? We'll go in here. So we'll go ahead and just like program this to 83. When I program this to 83, I mean, like you look at Mike Miles and his quarter theory. His quarter theory is a pretty spot on. It's a pretty great, way to measure whole levels. I like measuring whole levels. I love taking that information. Just remember that your trading plan overall, traders, is you are taking bits and pieces, kind of like a leader, right? You're following a leader. You take the good pieces and leave out the bad. The things that you don't like, you leave out the bad things. That you leave out the things that you don't agree with. You take all the things that you agree with and you apply it to your trading plan. That's exactly what you're doing here, okay? And this is exactly what I've done with Mike Miles. You know, I've taken his quarters theory and I said, okay, I like whole levels, but I don't like dissecting the entire thing into, you know, quarter levels, because that to me is a little bit, you know, too monotonous. Not that his trading plan is definitely on point. I love his trading plan. But for me personally, it kind of won't work for my trading plan, okay? So for you, adopt whatever you think is necessary for you, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and just draw this level up as well, because this is a major psychological level, I feel like, around 82.30, 82.45. Still a level that it could not break, 82.40, 82.50, still not a level it could not break. And it's a major pivot point, and the reason why it's a major pivot point is because the institutions are trading in this entire range. This entire range. So venture to say that if we're right here, this is a big support zone, like this entire thing right here. I know you guys see this. This could be a major support zone. So we could potentially bounce out of it and go to a higher level. Because looking at the daily, we're looking at the old lady, the old lady, young lady picture here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that before. I'll show it in a little bit. But now if we go and look into the bigger picture, we've already established lower lows. And yes, okay, we've had a bit of a higher high. I'm not going to qualify this as a higher high because we didn't necessarily take a whole impulse leg all the way up. The only impulse leg was bouncing off of 79, right? All we did was bounce off of 78, 79 levels, and there's a major liquidity level right down here. I mean, if we can go back in time and dissect this and, this entire like big ass, excuse my language, but this big wick down to the downside right here from, what was it, like 80 to 76? There's many different reasons. And here's the thing. If you look at it like this. History tends to repeat itself. But how often does it repeat itself? Right now we're in November, right? We're getting ready to go into December. We're going into December. Well, it may happen. We may go up to this area. I'm not saying that this is 110% true. This is not 110% true. But yeah, if we do have positive news for JPY this week, we're definitely going to go and dump our money into the Japanese yen. Okay, and the reason why, guys, that I talk about the Japanese yen the most is because avid investors, I'm talking like big investors, JP Morgan, we're talking about like Goldman Sachs, big institutions, they love dumping their money into the Japanese yen. And the reason why is because it's a safe haven currency. Okay, so remember, just remember this market outlook, guys. Just here's a big one. Look at this signature, super huge buy signature, right? What does that mean? We came to a reversal. This supply zone right here, we came to a reversal. That's the signature that we needed to see. We needed to see the reversal. And if you look at the candlestick structure too, before it and after it, kind of already speaks for itself. So had a pin bar to the top. We also had a huge, we had a doji candle right here and a doji candle. These right here won't really matter as much, but this one right here matters the most to me. That one's going to tell me, even if we had this signature right here afterwards, it's after it. Oh, yay, market's open. And we gap down to, nope, we haven't gapped yet. I'm thinking we're probably going to gap down somewhere around like 81.55. If not, we're probably going to gap up to about 82. That's a possibility. So anyways, if you look at the whole structure on the daily, look at the whole, don't even look at the candlesticks. Look at the freaking 200 EMA, dude. The 200 EMA is telling you, hey guys, stone cold fact, this is a downtrend. Stop trying to buy it. Don't buy it. Don't counter trend me. This is really a dumb idea. That's really what the daily's telling me. The daily says, boop, we're going down. All right. So now that we have the market outlook for AED JPY, what I'm really looking for, here's just kind of like filter out the noise of what I was saying earlier. If you don't catch anything out of this, what I'm really trying to say here is I expect us to go to about 78.84, somewhere around this realm right here. This is the magical realm. Okay, the magical realm of let's go ahead and sell it down here. So that kind of looks like in conjuncture, okay, with my previous, this was on like the 4 hour, the hourly, I can't even remember when I marked this up on the RSI, but this right here is what I'm looking for. I'm gonna go ahead and screenshot that. Save image. Okay, now let us go and dissect. I really wish I would have kept all of the markups I had on AUD JPY. That thing better change. I really loved everything I had on that thing. Okay, anyways, let's go back. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and look at Euro USD. I know that there was a lot of questions on Euro USD a little while ago, so I'm gonna go ahead and dissect it with you. So, what did I say about the 200 EMA? It's a downtrend. Okay, and what I'm really here's something that I really want to kind of look at. There is a major zone right here at 114.60, and it may be a little bit lower, a little bit higher. Just gotta kind of like tweak that a little bit. So what I'm really looking for this, since we did have some signatures of divergence, but they were kind of like very unclear. Looks more to me like we're kind of choppy going on down. Like, I mean, this is just from my perspective. This looks like a no trade. Do not trade. Choppiness. Choppiness is a no-go. I hate choppy. I really hate it. But at the same time, if I really wanted to, because it can be somewhat difficult to figure out in the long run, like this is kind of like, what is my actual expectation of this pair? Let me go ahead and just like trash this. What's my actual expectation of this pair? So, I mean, the 4-hour tells me downtrend, the daily tells me downtrend, and we also bounced off of, 113.26, and I mean, we're really close to that. But I think we've already missed out on some selling opportunities here, because this whole retracement, without even having to look at it, looks like a 78.6 to me. This right here would have been like the most opportune area to sell on. So let me go ahead and just kind of like, I'm just eyeballing this here, guys. Yeah, pretty close. 78.6. It didn't necessarily close above it. I mean, there's still a pin bar to the upside. We had some nice we didn't have divergence really, but I mean, we still were oversold. We were in overbought conditions. And I mean, it just looks more like a zigzag. So I mean, there's not really much for me to look at with Euro USD other than the fact that we've already kind of like accepted the momentum to the downside. If we close below 113.25 or 113 period, what I'm going to look for next is another retracement, and I want to see the retracement come up to about right about the area where it left. So within this little zone right here of 113.34 to 113.63. Yeah, it's a 30 pip gap, but at the same time, it'd be really nice to see that come back and retest it. If not, we could potentially see a whole impulse move just like this right here, this entire impulse move that we had previously. Or we can possibly see another bounce up to 114 and then drop again. So there are at least 3 options I want you guys to take into consideration looking into Euro USD. Okay. Does anybody have any pairs that they would prefer to look at? I'm going to accept at least 4 pairs. 4 pairs is the max. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the GBP USD. All right. Previous markup. We are, okay. So from what I'm just kind of like my first glance, just looking into this, what should I be looking at? What exactly am I expecting of the pair? I had this nice harmonic pattern. It was a little while ago. Doesn't really matter. It was in October. We had a nice sell-off of at least 236 pips. Beautiful sell-off. Let's see, where's my RSI? So we've got some pretty decent divergence. And like I said, coming from at least 1.2788, I'm not sure if I told you guys this previously. This is what I'm expecting from the 4-hour time frame. I'm looking for a buy because of the divergence, because of the high buy volume signatures, and because of the liquidity zones that are, pretty much, I mean, like they were well respected. There was more like a supply zone right there, supply and demand zone. And even though we didn't really go anywhere, we're still looking at a downtrend. Yeah, exactly, Riley. This is just kind of like thinking through the process. I'm really just kind of sharing my thoughts with you as I go through this chart. I can sit here and tell you I can expect a buy all day long, even though there's a little bit of the RSI kind of tells me too that there's a little bit of a accumulation in that really in this really small area. Oh my God, we've been selling GBP USD for quite some time too. Let me see here. What else do we have here? I mean, we still haven't breached this support though, is the thing. On the daily, we haven't breached this support, but what I would really like to see, man, I really don't want to trash this, but I might have to, just looking at the weekly. I really want to take a look into the weekly. Come on. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and look at this. So, I mean, just kind of like looking into the weekly time frame, I'm seeing more of this support right here at 126.65. When I see the support, even though we're still in a downtrend though, because it's the 200 EMA is still telling us it's a downtrend, I want you to pay attention to candlestick patterns too, because you can still catch some pretty decent sized movements. But because of all of this, wickage up here to 132, to the 132 area, we can still expect some selling. But where's our retracement? Well, we need a powerful retracement, honestly. I think we're due for a powerful retracement. And that powerful retracement could result in us coming over here to 135.64. I could be wrong. Don't get it twisted. I could be wrong. But it looks like on the weekly we've reached a demand zone. We've reached a high signature demand zone. So could the buy be probable? Maybe. Can I give you a percentage of how probable it could be? Not really, no. But I am expecting a little bit of some kind of buying power coming from GBP USD, because we have been selling for quite some time. And I know, like psychologically, it's kind of like you got to look at it psychologically. I kind of look at it psychologically. I mean, there's way too much selling. And plus, right in here, if we haven't broken this support yet, the problem is if we haven't broken this support, this can be considered a channel. This can be considered either consolidation or accumulation or a range. We could be trading inside of a range right here. So, you know what? I could venture to say that we could potentially go up here to 132.82 or continue up here to 135. You never know, because we didn't really even have we didn't really have any type of retracement from up here. Oh crap. Well, that wasn't right. Hang on one sec. Let me see if I can actually drag this the right way. Yeah, we didn't really even have a retracement on there. And I know I'm looking at the daily, but it's in between the 50. It's in between the 61.8. Yes, we went and touched the 38.2 once and didn't touch it again after that harmonic pattern. But at the same time, I mean, can't keep going down forever, can it? So let's say that this does happen. Let's say that this does happen. Why would it happen? Let's take into every consideration as to why this could happen. My reasoning behind this would be because this support zone is a very strong support zone. We have not broken it yet. Okay, this is probably a yearly low or a bi-yearly low. This could be a 2-year low. So let's see, when was the last time it came down here? This is okay, back in February and in August, June. Okay, we were definitely buying from an area for quite some time down here from 1.2. This could be why it's feasible to buy, because this is the lowest it's been. And I know this is Brexit. This is like back in Brexit, I think. A little while ago in October, I know that we were, kind of like in November, we were also in a selling zone too. We were in a strong, demand zone back in like 122, 121. And we had a liquidity zone down here in 121.10. Thing is, though, this is a resistance, flip support, right? But what does it look like from the weekly standpoint, though? Okay, that's interesting. We've just been selling for quite some time. That's all I'm saying. We've just been selling for a long-ass time, and I just feel like psychologically that we could potentially buy up even more, because there is some pretty strong indications that the Brexit deal isn't all quite as bad as everybody thinks it is. And maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but at the same time, let me go ahead and just like clear this out. I don't really pay attention much to news anymore, just because of the technical patterns that I've been so used to. And the crazy thing is the last time that price ever visited 1.3672 was September 17th, January 18th, and April 30, 2018. So would it be feasible that in December we could continue up to 1.36? Maybe. It could be a big teacup. right up here into like 141, right? All right. Let's go and see EA. But yeah, this is kind of like from a weekly standpoint, this is what I'm looking for. It also forks out a double bottom too. Some high demand signatures. So we could be entering a little bit earlier on the buy side than we think. So look out for the buy on GBP USD. That's what I'm looking for. And we wanted to look into, okay, I got to create another tab here. We wanted to look at Euro AUD. I could probably tell you that's going to be a sell right off the bat. I don't know why, but something tells me it is. Would you say more of an ascending triangle on the daily short sell than looking at the buy by Friday for GU? Let me see if I can understand that. Ascending triangle. See, the thing is I'm not looking for triangles. I'm not looking for anything in particular as far as like pattern. What I'm really looking for is candlestick structure, volume, supply and demand signature, divergence in somewhat of the wick, some basic fundamentals from the Wyckoff method. That's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more psychological like really just psychological stuff, not looking like sentimental type stuff, not really looking even into specific, it could be, you can consider it some kind of triangle, but if you really look at it, it's still going to me, if I go ahead and draw up a triangle on this right here, what I'm going to see is, yes, an ascending triangle. And yes, I'm going to see a buy from that ascending triangle. It's the same thing. So, I mean, we could come back and touch this again. It did move strongly off of 1.2732. And when we did move strongly off of 1.2732, guess what we did? Strong, even though there's strong supply or strong demand signatures. So then that means that we met demand. When we met demand, now it's time to go look for some supply, right? That's kind of like my interpretation of, the psychological factor behind GBP USD. Euro AUD. Let's see what you got. Okay. Well, I haven't really looked at this pair for a little while, since September, actually. I did sell it up here at 1.63. So again, this is a range. It's been in a weekly range, actually. It's funny how we looked at that. It's in a weekly range, and it has not broken 1.62 or 63 for quite some time. The only thing it did, and this is kind of like my idea behind, institutional trading and institutional order flow. When there are wicks, super big wicks to the upside or to the downside, I'm really looking for, okay, were these orders that the banks put up here or big institutionals put up here? Because more than likely, if price was driven up to this supply zone and it moved away, punctured it again, moved away again, then I'm going to venture to say, if we have not had a strong, candle to go through it yet, then we're still gonna sell it. Granted, on the weekly, it does show, we do show an uptrend, but I'm not gonna judge it based off of this right here. I'm gonna judge it based off of this right here. I could even venture to judge it from right here too. And that could be considered, that can still be considered the break of the trend. There are so many different ways that you can draw a trend line. It's fascinating. So now going into the daily, breaking down the Euro AUD. That's kind of textbook. I mean, it's kind of textbook. Can't say kind of, it really is textbook. That was a supply, that's a support flip resistance. So selling off of 1.5769, we can anticipate a sell-off from, and it's funny. It's kind of funny because if you look at this, this is the what I preach to be an energy point or a synergy point. Don't mind the RSI. The RSI is not going to tell you shit on this one pair because it never works for me on that pair. But just kind of looking at this, it could sink down here too. And we have already broken some previous structure. Like I said, structure is what really matters. And look at this too. On the daily, there's a liquidity zone and a gap. I mean, we don't have to cover, don't get me wrong, we don't have to cover gaps all the time. Okay, we really don't. But I mean, it kind of signifies to me, okay, look, if we're going to go anywhere, where are we going to go? We're going to go where the institution has traded over the weekend, has, really shown that. I feel like they show their cards when they do stuff like this. It's like, okay, I know exactly. It's almost as if you know exactly where they're going. You don't know, but you know that, okay, that's kind of obvious. If it's broken this structure right here, broken this structure down here, we still have a lot of room to come down to, 1.52. What kind of retracement can we expect out of this? The funny thing is that this is a strong supply zone right here too, because of the amount of volume, the sheer volume that came out of this supply, or this one day right here on November 15th. So there's a lot of volume coming from the sellers. There's also volume knowing that we had approached a potential supply zone, or demand zone. I'm sorry. Demand zone. Okay. And the funny thing is that you can tell where a demand zone is based off of, hey, is there a gap there? Yeah. That meets some kind of requirement, right? And is there a high signature? Is there a high volume signature? Yeah. So what did that mean? Are we going to buy it? Maybe. We might just buy it. Okay. Why would we buy it? Even though that this synergy point, it's still, you still got your EMA. You still got your EMA showing an uptrend, a steady uptrend. Even though it broke this trend line right here, this is just hypothesis. This trend line, this can be some just utter bullshit that it's not going to matter. This right here, I just drew this up here. This can be theoretical. So we can delete that out of the equation. But what we can't delete out of the equation is looking at how it respects this structure right here. And because there's verified like railroad candlestick patterns right here at this area around 1.5769 on Euro AUD. So if we can go in a little bit deeper, dissect like a little bit closer on the 4 hour, what are we going to expect? What are we going in here and what are we looking at? Okay, so there's some very beautiful divergence. This is what I like to see, especially on Euro AUD on the 4 hour. So if we have some divergence right here and we're losing momentum from the buyers and we're seeing more volume in the sellers, hey, guess what? We could sell it. I mean, but I don't personally want to sell this, only simply because this can be the divergence play where we're looking for a pullback. Notice the difference between reversals and pullbacks. Up here, this is where the reversal is. Down here, this is not where the reversal is. This is the potential pullback. Where do we measure the pullback? We're going to go from the very first. I feel like this right up here, this one candlestick is the right place to put it. So we come up to a 38.2, the test, and the line was at 38.2, so we can potentially sell it. Can we? Can we sell it? We can't go. The one thing that I don't want to do is go any deeper than the 4 hour because there's so much noise, especially with Euro AUD, and GBP. They're some of the hardest ones to dissect on the hourly because there's so much noise behind it. What I want you to realize is if there's structure, and this could also potentially be a harmonic pattern. I'm not going to screen it with the harmonic pattern though. We should be very careful of Euro AUD, only simply because I've played around with Euro AUD up here in this area of 1.61 and 1.63. Sometimes can be a little bit tricky spotting the sell or the buy because it can wick up in any which direction, and we could potentially see a wick up to 1.5916. But if we do that, and this is the verified support, then we kind of miss out on the buy opportunity around in this area. So what I encourage you guys to do is just do a little bit more research into Euro AUD. I don't really trade it very often anymore because it's a little bit too aggressive for my style. But there are definitely different scenarios that can come out of this, specifically because if we see, and I mean, like if you look at the 4 hour, it's still kind of like a ranging looking, it's still actually kind of an uptrend type thing. So if it is kind of if it is an uptrend, if this is a verified uptrend from the 200 EMA, that's where I'm going to stop right there and say, okay, this is an uptrend. Where are we going to see our buy? I'm not entirely sure yet. Our buy can potentially come from, again, testing this area at 1.5577. So if we do, what kind of sign, what kind of candlestick are we going to look for? We're going to look for a pin bar. We're going to look for railroad, or we're going to look for gravestone, not a gravestone, but dragonfly doji. We're going to look for a dragonfly doji. I'm like sitting here trying to think in my head, where are we going with this? So this could be a pullback to the beginning of a new buy. So let's not get too carried away with the sell opportunity here, because there are so many factors that are pointing towards an uptrend. So if we're in an uptrend, I'm going to venture to say that this could be the first low selling point right here. Jordan kind of, this is like the low spring, the first spring, and then we go and look for the second spring, probably right around here. That did not work. Let's try that right around here. So we're going to be looking for the second spring right around in the 155 area. So I'm going to probably put it, I'm going to wait. Dang it. People keep mentioning me in Facebook. Okay. Anyways, I'm just going to be looking for some buying ideas, buying signals. And what my buying signals are going to consist of are candlestick patterns, the rejection of price at 155. I want to see it reject this entire area first and then continue in an uptrend. But what I'm going to also want to do is go into the hourly. I know I said don't go in here because it's a little bit hard to dissect it. However, there is a gap down here that I want you to take into consideration. This gap could also show, I'm pretty sure I showed this earlier, guys. This could be the next area of interest where we buy at 1.5586. I'm feeling a strong buy from 1.5586, my honest opinion. Okay. So keep that into consideration. Let price play out. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. And look for the right candlestick patterns for you to buy in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and actually save this too, because this might be a really great setup. I like it. I like it. I like it. Big consolidation in the back end, that's for sure. Okay, so we also wanted to take a look at NZD, USD, and gold. Okay, cool. So two last ones. Beep. Let's go into NZD, USD. This is one of my favorite pairs too, even though it moves really slow. Oh, wow. Gap down straight to my little line there at 67.58. Cool. That's awesome. Well, folks, we may be able to get into a buy here. But before we do that, let's check something. Okay. You guys know, go ahead and guess what I'm getting ready to check out. Before I even pull it up, guess what I'm getting ready to check out. I bet you don't know. You probably do know. Nobody's gonna guess? I'll just pull it up. DXY. Whoa! Look at that guy already pulled it up. Look at that. Smart guy. Awesome. All right. Well, we definitely had some price action that matched our arrows, but not exactly. This is some weird stuff. This is really weird. This is what I find really weird too. If say we do continue selling, continue selling, and it looks like we may continue selling the dollar. I mean, the dollar's in a decline. Then this right here could definitely be feasible within between 67.58 and, let me see. I'm gonna figure out all of these factors here. Nope, go back up. Actually, we could probably keep that there. Put it right here. So between 67.33 and 67.58, I'm going to venture to say we're probably going to continue buying it. Don't just disregard this failed harmonic pattern. It's all good. Anyways, so look at this. This is kind of funny too. We had some high signature from this area, so that means that we may have come and touched the supply zone. So if we came and touched the supply zone, and guess what? We gapped too over the weekend. Of course, institutions are going to pull price down a little bit. We're definitely going to cover this gap for sure. And we're probably going to see ourselves going up to 68.15. And if we continue 68.15, we may see even prices move up to the realm of, I'm going to actually bring this up to the 4 hour because I feel like we've got a long way to go. And I'm going to keep that on there. We are in a, this is a perfect retracement almost, I think. Hang on one sec. Let me go ahead and measure this retracement. Oh. Oh. That's beautiful. Let's take a look here. I mean, hey, we're in between 78.6 and 61.8, but hey, it's up to you guys if you want to buy it. I'm more than likely going to go ahead and buy it here in just a couple seconds because I feel that that is a beautiful place to place a buy in that area. And I'm looking for live call, by the way, live call. If you want, we can actually go ahead and just trade this live right now. I don't see any reason why not to buy it. That's the support right there. And this price action Fibo is now invalid. So our next line of resistance is here at 69.27. So from 67.61, pretty close to about 150 pip trade. Let's take a look at the weekly. I mean, we already came down here to 64 and we bounced off of it. And then if we're coming down here to touch 67.58, I mean, that's the support. That was the previous support requirement that I needed before I bought it. I would say, you know what? Let's go ahead and do a live call and buy it. I'm buying it. I'm looking for a buy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we've got our first trade for the week. Although we do have some high spreads, be careful of the spreads. Set your stop loss. Let's go into the hourly and look for the stop loss. I would set my stop loss if I were you guys at, take the auto off. There we go. Cool. Set your stop loss at, we're at 67.61. So we're going to actually go ahead and put my thing here, put our risk right there, risk and reward. There we go. All right. Go ahead and set that trade in. I'm going to go ahead and set a couple of positions in really quick before it shoots and skyrockets. Set my, wrong account. That was my crypto account. Let me go to my turkey. Where we at? NZD/USD. Where are you on my thing? Well, give me 1 second, folks. I'm trying to find NZD/USD on my broker here. Lord have mercy. Okay, cool. I bought it. Sweet. Okay, so stop losses. Ladies and gentlemen, put your stop loss at 67.33, resulting in a pretty much 23 pip stop loss. Because I don't think we're going to go any further than that. But if you feel like you need to give a little bit more space, a little bit room to breathe, we can. I just suggest 67.33 being our stop loss. Okay. And if you want to, you can go ahead and extend it if you want to down to 67. I mean, it's not unreasonable to do that, only because this is where the previous, this is kind of like where the previous support was. But I feel like we've already met the support and the criteria that we need for this buy. So I actually took it as I asked, and you put this exact same stop. Oh, cool. Awesome. Sweetness. So just enjoy the ride to the upside and see what happens. I mean, that's as far as I can go with y'all on that one. So we've got our trade set for NZD USD. Nice live call. Nice. I mean, I feel like this is a really, really great setup. I couldn't resist, especially on a Sunday, especially when this came up right here. I could not resist this. Do we have any more requests? I can't remember. NZD, GBP, EA. Oh yeah, we need to take a look at gold. All right. Let me see here. Cool. Well, as expected, I mean, we bought down here around 1198. The reason why we bought it is pretty obvious. The devaluation of the dollar. I mean, there's still going to be some events that come up. However, there's a nice support at 1220. We can continue buying to 1236. I mean, that's kind of like my bias on gold. We've already been the trade house has been talking about gold for quite some time, and we've been holding gold for quite some time as well. So that's pretty much it on that one. Oh yeah, NZD should definitely be moving pretty quickly this week. Let's go ahead and take a look into GBP JPY. I'm cool with that. No more pairs. No more pairs. Oh, hey, look. That looks like a buy to me. Accumulation. All that is, guys, all this noise right here, all this is just accumulation of orders. I mean, it could be a three-phase drop. I mean, we could see a three-phase drop, but I highly doubt it. And, we've already got some pretty nice divergence here on the hourly. Let's go ahead and look at some more signatures on the 4-hour. Oh, God. Looks like a range-ish. I mean, if we kind of like cut it off from like right here, range. Whole range. Yeah, that pretty much looks like a big fat range. So we can extend this all the way out here. Now, if we look on the daily, what's it going to tell us? God, it's such a beautiful range. Look at that. Could drop down here again to 142.79. I'm not sure yet, though. I don't know. Looks like a range, honestly. We stick in this range, and since now we have a little bit more, we had some high volume in the sellers, which means we reached a supply and demand zone. So if, say, this right here, theoretically, is the supply and demand zone that we needed to be met, we've got to buy, potentially. And the funny thing is, if we go in here, we see another gap right here. I'm going to point it out. And I'm also going to text it out too. Gap. There you go. Oh, gosh. That's funny. So, I mean, we literally just kind of like pierced into that area already, and we bought up, and then we kind of moved strongly away from it. Even though we did move through it, we did move through kind of like to touch this area. I feel like this right here was just kind of like a fake out. This right here, this whole entire area was just a fake out. And since we found more signature from the supply zone, that kind of confirms, okay, we're going up to the sky. So this right here could potentially be a buy up to 150 again. And if we do see something like that, that could potentially result in, notice how I'm using these key phrases, result as in potential, 500 pips. And that could take as little as a week or it can take as long as a month to get up there. Who knows? Knowing GJ, it may only take it about a week or probably even 2 days. So let's look for the buy up in that area, and I would actually kind of like I would prefer to have a stop at this should really actually turn into a really good trade, like at least 144. But look for a little bit lower. I want to see lower. I want to see a little bit lower. There's another gap right there. I want to see some. Oh God, there's 2 gaps right here. Jesus, that's awesome. There's 3. That's beautiful. Hang on a second. I'm so happy I saw that. Wow. Normally when I see that, it kind of like to me shows, okay, we may go to this price. So if we do go to that price, that'd be awesome. Right up here to 147. It's a pretty nice price for banks like to play in. Not bad. So if say we're looking for some lower, we're looking for some lower prices to buy off of. If we don't see anything to buy off of, okay, we got to take the auto scroll off. If we don't see anything to buy off of, I would suspect that right down here, we could look for some more down here. Let's see. I don't know yet. I want to see price come down here a little bit further. I want to see it come down here. I want to come down to 144 and buy it from 144. If it doesn't break 144, let's buy it. Okay? But if it does break 144, no trade. I mean, we could sell it, but I mean, it's just no go for me. I don't have any. I won't take anything after that. And the funny thing is because it had such strong movement down here, because it had such a strong movement from 147 down to 144, crazy huge movement. Since it did that and then it went straight to accumulation, I can venture to say that if we continue in this nice accumulation stuff right here, this nice little phase that we're in, we're going to see another strong movement up to the upside. We could do that as long as we do not pierce 144. 144 is like the no-no square. We don't go past that. But if it does and we touch the no-no square, no trade. We're off. So I'll go ahead and save that too, actually. Let me go back to my hourly or 4-hour TF. Save. And I'll post that too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude today's market outlook. Thank you guys for sharing which pairs you're looking at. Thank you guys for giving some ideas. As a community, we always trade together. Remember, we're better as traders. Hey, look, it's 444. Sweet. That's awesome. We're always better as a community. We're always better as a team. So let's continue to jump on these market outlooks together as a team. Let's leave as a team. Let's win as a team. I love you guys. Peace out. Have a great trading week.